Hello, everyone, and welcome to the IPR Podcast, where we discuss all things payments and remittances. I'm Amir Abedi, your host, and I am the CMO at Remit1, and I'm joined today by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Osama Kaseibati, who is Head of Business Solutions at Remit1. Osama, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
Very well.
So this episode is for the aspiring founders in the great money transfer industry. So if you are a founder of a fintech business or a remittance business, an e-money institution or a neobank, then this podcast is for you. Osama has helped lots and lots of companies both from a business and a technological perspective in setting up a business, launching the business and going live with lots of transactions. So what we wanted to do in this episode is to extract that valuable knowledge and present it to the founder so they find this beneficial. So Osama, if I'm a founder in the fintech space, in the MSB, money service business space, how do I start? Where do I start?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I would say this applies to not only a startup, but for those who are expanding into new regions, which you could again class them as a startup for that new region.
Right.
So it's for the MTOs that are starting from complete scratch.
MTOs are money transfer
operators. Yeah. All those who might have a footprint in UK and then like to expand to Europe as an example. Mm-hmm. So the key thing I would say to start off with when you're looking at a money service business is understanding the compliance landscape, the regulatory landscape, and what's required from you to be able to operate as a money transfer operator. So what requirements do you need to fulfill? Mm-hmm. Because once you understand what your requirements are, that's going to greatly affect the kind of partners that you bring into the fold, the kind of software that you're going to need to adopt or apply, because obviously it has to be in line with those regulatory requirements. Mm-hmm. So I would say definitely the first step would be understanding the regulatory landscape. Some of the times it does help to have a local consultant, someone who can assist you with understanding the legal terminology and legal requirements of that certain jurisdiction. But definitely, I would say that would be your number one or your first starting point. Am I able to achieve these requirements even, right? So understanding what the requirements are, am I able to achieve those requirements? And then I would say the next step would be start to put together a business plan with some forecasting. Mm-hmm. Remittance before used to be slightly different when it wasn't so technology focused. Mm-hmm. So many years ago, you were able to apply for a remittance license and inform them of the sort of compliance procedures that you're going to be carrying out manually, and a few bits of other information, and you're able to achieve a license. Nowadays, because a lot of money service businesses are digital and rely heavily on the digital aspect of it, so would that be mobile phone apps or websites, and then obviously the back end, how are you monitoring, how are you doing your compliance checks, how are you doing your volume and velocity checks. All of this has to do with your software. Mm-hmm. So once you understand what your requirements are, I would say along with the business plan, start looking at payout partners and the software, because the payout partners are going to be where you are going to get your profit from. Yeah, and obviously understanding what the margins are, what your profit is, will go as part of your business plan.
So the payout partners are the banks in the destination countries or the MTOs in the destination countries?
Yeah, absolutely. They can be banks, MTOs, aggregators, telcos, depending on what service you're providing. So the payout side of the corridor, the person that's going to handle that for you, a lot of the time that's where you're going to be getting your currency from, and a lot of the time that's where you're going to get your profit on the FX from. So it's good. It's very handy to understand that as well. There are software providers out there, like Remit1, as an example, who do already currently have clients and operate in multiple jurisdictions. Now, this is always an advantage because one, they've been tried, they've been tested, they're already operating in that jurisdiction, which would mean that regulator would have already looked at and vetted that particular software. So you're already sort of one step ahead. A good software provider should also have a lot of these integrations in place with the payout partners and should be able to even assist you with some of the business side.
So there's not just software, it's a software solution, an end-to-end software solution here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As I mentioned, an integral part is the payout partner. You might not have the inroads, you might not have the connections, you might not have the knowledge to reach out to these certain payout partners, depending on which regions they are in. A good software provider would be able to facilitate those introductions with some of the payout partners they might already have integrated with their software. A good software provider, their system should be in line with the regulatory requirement, whether that be doing sanctions and blacklist checks like on OFAC or HM Treasury or MAS for Singapore or
UN sanctions
list or DFAT for Australia. So it's the software is there not to replace your compliance officer, it's there as a tool for your compliance officer, but it should have all the mechanical sort of moving parts in it to assist your compliance officer for him to then go report. So if a transaction comes in and it ends up on a sanctions list because your software has checked it, it should hold that transaction, inform your compliance officer, then your compliance officer needs to go through his own processes, reporting it to the regulatory body. So definitely the key thing would be is the first steps. It's understanding the regulatory environment, seeking a software provider who fits into that framework without having to sacrifice things like having a solid system in place or having a good UX or a good interface in place or a good support system behind that technology in place. And then looking at, again, the payout partners, because that's going to be a lot where you're going to amass a lot of your profits, and again, that will be part of your business plan, your projections. But yeah, I would say that's definitely a good starting point.
Okay, so to summarize, there are 4 steps a founder should consider. Number 1 is to do his or her own research, identify the USPs, come up with a business plan. And there is obviously, this is a $22 trillion industry at least. So their opportunities are endless. So number 1, do your research. Number 2, you need to apply for a license, or what we call an MSB license here in the UK. It's known by different names. EMI license. I think in the US it's called an MSO license, but they're all the same thing. That's step 2. License application.
Also, when you're looking at the license application, also look at the activity that you would like to carry out, and does that license cover your activity? Yes. For example, if I would like to hold client funds indefinitely on a wallet, then it would be the e-money license I'll be seeking. Or if I just want to do your typical remittances,
then the MSB license should
am I doing 3 million a month? Maybe the SPI license will suffice for me, and that's an easy route to start with. Or am I going to break those levels pretty quickly, and is it going to be an authorized payment institute license for me?
Right.
Do I want to passport that license as well if it's a European passport? So other factors involved. The other step, which it depends on the regulator, if it comes, it's like a chicken egg scenario with the bank account.
That's step 3. Research, step 1, license application, step 2, and bank account number 3. But you're saying this is a chicken and egg situation, step 2 and step 3.
I would say license, the software, well, you kind of have to roll in parallel. You would have to look at, as you're looking at the license and getting your license, you would also at the same time have to look at the software.
It's underpinned. The software underpins step 2 and step 3.
Underpins step 2 and 3.
except for?
Now, depending on the regulator, for example, in the UK, let's take UK as an example, there is the Small Payment Institute license, which you can obtain. Once you have your Small Payment Institute license, then you can approach some of the banks and you can request for something that's called a client account. So it's not your regular business account, it's a client segregated account with safeguarded funds. And essentially what that is saying is that your client funds are going to go into kind of an escrow account. You would need to facilitate the payout on the other side. Only then are those funds yours. Because obviously there's no commodities or goods or we're selling there. It's money, and that money is not yours until it actually arrives on the other side.
Yes.
So if anything happens, God forbid, between that time and your business goes bust, your client's funds are still secure in that in that client.
And when you say your client fund, just to clarify, it's referring to your customers, the remitters, the people who are sending money, the migrant workers who are sending money, for example.
Absolutely.
So,
having said that, I'm sure you're well aware of de-risking. Over the last sort of 15 years, banks have been not only rejecting or not facilitating the client account services for MTOs, but they've actually been shutting down a lot of the MTOs' bank accounts over the last 10 years, what they call de-risking.
Yes.
Where they say that the risk is outweighs the profit that we're getting from this particular service. Therefore, we're no longer going to provide it. I mean, if you think about some of the fines that the banks get, I mean, those small MTOs, you might get a slap on the wrist, you might get a small fine. Against some of these banks, I mean, the fines go into the billions. So it's quite serious for them, and of course they look at it as it outweighs the benefit. Having said that, there are neo banks out there or challenger banks out there that have come in to sort of plug that gap. They don't deal in cash, a lot of them. As I mentioned, they're some of them online banks or neo
digital
banks.
Yeah.
So they're digital banks, and you're able to hold a client account with them and pay off. With the larger licenses, it's a little bit more trickier, let's just say, because as an example, again, with taking it back to the UK, with the Authorised Payment Institute license, if you're applying for one or the EMI license, you actually need to show the regulator that you have those facilities in place beforehand. Like, yes, I've already got a safeguarded account. Depending on your volume, how much is it safeguarded up to, right? But if you don't have a license, the bank won't give you an account. But then again, you won't get a license without having that in place.
Right.
So a lot of the time, people, depends on your relationship with the bank, you can get things like letter of intent saying that once you achieve your license, we intend to provide you with these facilities,
right,
which can smooth over the regulator. But my suggestion would always be, think big, start small. Start with a smaller license, the Small Payment Institute license, the one that's a lower hanging fruit, the one that will be easier for you to obtain. Then you can get your bank account, you can operate for 6 months, a year, and then it will be a much more easier transition for you.
And also, I suppose, also start with a single corridor. So, one country to a single country to country corridor.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that I get a phone call and I'm speaking to a particular startup, and the question is which corridor would you like to operate in? And it always worries me when they say, oh, everywhere or the world. Now you're talking about 200 countries in total, and it worries me because it shows that they already have a lack of understanding of the remittance landscape. But if we look at what it takes to open up a single corridor, you're going to need a payout partner that's based in that payout location. And a lot of the time, 99% of the time, as it's a new relationship, you're going to need to be pre-funding him. So you would pre-fund some currency with your payout partner. Then, as you're collecting in the UK, you would send the API messages and they would fund locally out of the money they're holding for you. What we call a pre-fund. Now, if you're doing 200 countries, how many partners are you going to be pre-funding? How much cash flow do you have? It's going to become very difficult.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's always good to start, to think big, start small. Start with maybe one or two corridors that you understand. It may be that you're part of the community. It may be a case that you have another business and you want to tap into the employees or the contacts that you have through that other business, right? As an example, I had a gentleman who ran a nursing agency, and he had 500 Filipino nurses on his books. Now, he decided, hey, look, they send money back home each month. I get them in a position at the hospitals, they work. But then they would come to him every now and then and say, hey, look, do you know how I can send some of my wages back? So he got the idea that, look, I'm going to start this little business myself. And he was able to tap into that straight away. But he thought of that one corridor, right? So UK to Philippines. I'm already an agent for nurses. A lot of them are Filipinos.
Yeah.
And then he started off.
He just opened up a new revenue channel.
Exactly.
Basically.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So to summarize, here's what we're saying, right? The fintech stroke MSB space is huge. Opportunities are endless. There is a big push from cash to digital everywhere. There are typically 4 steps, and this is like a formula you can apply in pretty much any jurisdiction, any country. There are typically 4 steps, at a very high level. Step 1, do your research, identify the USBs, come up with your business plan. Step 2 is to find the right technology, infrastructure solution, software solution. Step 3 is to get a license, an MSB license, a fintech license, an e-money license. Step 4 is a bank account. And of course, you need step 5, if you will, is to partner with a payout partner. Now, if you find a solution provider, an end-to-end solution provider, step 2, they can potentially bring you that payout partner of step 5 as well. And the other thing that the technology providers, and there are many technology providers available, well, at least there are a few, well-established brands like Remit1 out there. But the one crucial component I wanted to mention is the supply chain members in the payments ecosystem. When a business sends money from country A to country B, there are many other supply chain members involved.
Absolutely.
And with all the new advances in technology, AI, ID verification, and so on and so forth, payment gateway, credit card payments, stable coins, et cetera, this technology provider has to bring all these supply chain members in on a common platform to make it easier for the founder. Now, the founder did not have, access to such technology software solution providers before, but now they are available.
Yep, absolutely.
Comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at it's a typical client journey. They would go to the App Store. They will download a money transfer operator's app. I'm sure you're well aware of some of the large names out there. And the first thing that I have to do is be onboarded. So during that onboarding stage, there'll be a KYC, eKYC process. Right? And again, this is in line with the regulatory requirement. The regulator would require you to do your checks, validate documents. Sometimes as part of PSD3, as an example, you would need to, if you're not onboarding the remitter in front of you, i.e. digitally on a mobile phone or a website, you need to do a liveness check. So what you're saying is that the person that's providing me ID is the same person that's registering, right? And again, this is part of regulation. Now if you think about, okay, I've got a software, I've got an app that I'm renting from a particular purchase from a particular software provider. Now this other component I have to think about, right? They're a remittance software provider. They obviously won't be a ID verification provider. Well, they might not be a payment gateway. There obviously won't be a payment gateway. So once you've built your transaction, how do you pay for it? Right? So a good software provider should have a lot of these not only in place, but should be able to advise you and introduce you to these players, they say.
The supply chain members. Right.
So if we take it from the beginning, again, someone registers themselves, you've got the ID verification part, which you've got your eKYC provider. Then someone builds a transaction. They want to pay for that transaction.
With a debit card or credit card.
Debit card, credit card. In the UK, we have something called open banking.
Yes.
In Europe, there's SOFORT and other payment methods. Some payment gateways through Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal. Again, your software provider should have some of these in place, or should be able to advise you and direct you on how to find the right providers to again complete that supply chain.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's some great advice, Osama. Thank you very much. If you have any questions or concerns or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section here below the podcast. And if you can always email us, the contact details should appear on the screen. And you can always reach out to us at sales@remitone.com. For any questions, we're happy to help any startups. We've been doing it for the past 15 years. So yeah, we're always here. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.